All right, let's talk about something that so many people deal with, but almost no one talks about. Porn addiction. It's one of those things that's just wrapped up in so much shame, which makes it feel impossible to even start a conversation about, let alone try to fix. But here's the thing. Our sources show there actually is a clear path forward. So today, we're going to break down what that path to recovery really looks like. This right here, this quote from a guy named Baswa, it just gets right to the core of it, doesn't it? Hitting my head against the wall. That feeling of being totally, completely stuck. You try the same thing again and again, and you just get the same result. Nowhere. It's this deep sense of hopelessness that, let's be honest, is probably really familiar to a lot of people. Okay, so let's get into it. How does this whole thing become such a vicious cycle? I mean, a loop that feels like you can never, ever break out of. Well, to figure out how to get out, we've got to first understand how people get in. And what's wild is that our sources show there's actually a pretty predictable timeline for how this all starts.
So, check this out. For a lot of people, this journey starts way earlier than you might think. It often kicks off with that first exposure, maybe between 8 and 12 years old. And usually it's totally accidental, which right away creates this secret. Then you fast forward a few years to 13 or 14. You've got privacy, you've got the internet on your phone, and that's when it can really spiral into a regular thing. By 16, you might start realizing, hey, this is actually messing with my life. But here's the kicker. Just like in Baswa's story, that realization was followed by 6 more years of struggling alone. That just shows you this isn't some simple bad habit. It's a deep-seated cycle.
Now this next point is absolutely critical. It's maybe the biggest light bulb moment in all of this. To break the cycle, you have to get this one thing. It's not actually about the porn. It's really not. It's a tool. Think of it like a medicine you're using to escape, to cope with all these intense, difficult feelings that, frankly, you were never taught how to deal with. So what are we talking about here? What are these feelings we're trying to escape? Well, it's the stuff we all deal with, right? Boredom, loneliness, stress, anger, feeling neglected or just not good enough. And of course, shame. These are the real triggers. The habit, the addiction, that's just the anesthetic. It's a very temporary, very ineffective fix for a much, much deeper ache.
All right, so you finally hit that point. You say, that's it, I'm done. I'm going to use all my willpower, grit my teeth, and just stop. And then, a few days, maybe a week later, you're right back where you started. So why? Why does this keep happening? Here's the good news. Our sources are clear that it's not because you're weak. It's because the strategy itself, relying on pure willpower, is fundamentally broken.
And this is the willpower trap in action. The method is always the same, right? I'll just resist. I'll be strong. I'll count the days. Baswa actually kept a diary where he'd put a green check for a good day and a red X for a relapse. But think about what that does. The moment you get one red X, you feel like a total failure. The whole thing's ruined. And that leads to this massive wave of shame, which makes you believe, see, I'm just weak. I can't do this. That shame actually fuels the cycle and makes the addiction even more powerful.
And here's why it's such an unfair fight. You're not just fighting some external craving. You're fighting a part of your own brain. As the quote says, the addict part is also that much clever as you are. It knows you inside and out. It knows every weakness, every excuse, every rationalization you've ever used. It'll bargain with you. It'll negotiate. Just this one last time. Trying to beat that with sheer willpower? It's like walking into an ambush you know you're going to lose. Every single time. So, this brings us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? If willpower and just trying harder is a losing battle, then what's the answer? What actually works? Well, it's not about more force. It's about a smarter approach. It's about having a system. And that's what we're going to talk about now. The reboot system. The whole idea is to stop trying harder and start trying differently. It's a total shift in how you think about this. You're moving away from that short-term, brutal fight of willpower, and you're moving toward building a smart, long-term system for your entire life. So what exactly is a reboot? Well, the power of this idea is right there in the name. It's not just about stopping something, it's a full-on process of rebuilding. Rebuilding the parts of your life that the addiction wore down over the years. Your physical health, your social connections, your mental and even spiritual well-being. It's holistic, and this is maybe the most important distinction to make. Think about the difference between a challenge, like one of those 90-day no-fap challenges, and a system. A challenge is temporary. It's all about counting days and relying on that same old willpower. The goal is just abstinence. But a reboot system? That's for life. It's a framework. You're not counting days you avoided something, you're counting the wins you're stacking up.
The goal isn't just to stop, it's to build a whole new lifestyle.
Okay, so every good system needs a solid foundation, right? Like a house built on strong pillars. And the reboot system is no different. Our sources point to 3 pillars that are completely non-negotiable for this to work.
So here they are, the 3 pillars that hold this whole thing up. First, a major mindset shift. This means when you slip up, and you might, you don't see it as a catastrophe. You see it as data. What can I learn from this? It's about progress, not perfection. Second, healthy habits. This is about building a routine you don't even have to think about. A morning routine with some exercise, meditation, journaling, things that build you up. And third, maybe the most important one of all, radical accountability. I mean, listen to this. After trying and failing for 6 years by himself, Boswa's #1 piece of advice was, get help, man. Get help. And every source we looked at says the exact same thing. You cannot do this on your own. You just can't. That feeling of shame, it loves isolation. It grows in the dark. The only way to kill it is to bring it into the light by connecting with other people who actually get it. All right, this brings us to a really powerful shift in perspective. Most people think quitting is the finish line, but it's not. Not even close. In so many ways, quitting is actually the starting line. Think about it. For years, the addiction was like a big, heavy blanket you threw over everything else. It covered up all the real problems, maybe a lack of social skills, or not knowing how to handle your emotions, or just not trusting yourself. Once you take that blanket off, well, the real issues are still there. But now, for the first time, you have the clarity and the energy to actually face them. And this is what that real work looks like. This isn't about just getting back to who you were before. It's about a complete upgrade. It's about actively rebuilding trust in yourself. It's about learning how to have real, deep relationships. It's about learning to just be with uncomfortable feelings instead of running away. The ultimate goal is to build a life that's so awesome, so fulfilling, that the old escape hatch doesn't even look tempting anymore. It just becomes irrelevant.
So here's the bottom line. Recovery is absolutely possible. Our sources make that crystal clear. It's not going to be easy, no, but it's a real step-by-step process. It's a journey away from being a prisoner of your past and toward becoming the architect of your future. So the real question isn't, are you strong enough? The real question is about taking action. So we'll leave you with this to think about. Your future is greater than your past. What is your first step?